Welcome to the Diary of an Apartment Investor podcast. I'm your host, Brian Briscoe, and today we want to talk about raising capital. Okay. More specifically, I want to talk about how to start raising capital. Because, one of the most common things I hear is, Brian, I just don't even know where to start in raising capital. Other things that I hear a lot is, well, I don't have a deal yet. How can I raise money without a deal? I don't know anybody with money. I don't know what to say. I need to learn more before I start. And I used a lot of those essentially excuses, and we're going to talk about that. Don't worry about it. But that's very common for people to say stuff like that. And it's very common for people to feel like that. Now, the reality is, most people who are raising millions and millions of dollars started with similar questions. All right. They started not being able to raise capital because it's not something we're born with. All right. It's a skill that we have to learn. Okay. Most people think that raising capital starts with a deal. And that's one of the misconceptions that was rampant when I was in the coaching program I was in, is if you have a good deal, the money will come, which not so much. All right. So it doesn't start with the deal. It starts long before the deal. All right. Now, the reality is, this is one of the things that I think a lot of people have backwards is you don't figure out how to raise the capital and then hit the go button. All right. You have to hit the go button first before you can really, really learn to raise capital. It's not a single event. It's not a one-time conversation. It's not something you turn on when you get a deal. It's a skill that you have to learn and you have to practice. And it's okay if you start out bad. That's just the reality of everything. Most things that we do, we start out bad and then we learn how to get good. And the first step to capital raising is honestly just deciding that you are going to do it. And that's it. First step, deciding that you're going to do it. Okay. And once you make that decision, your behavior is going to change. All right. And you're going to start doing things differently. Now, once you've made that decision, I think the next most important thing to do is just to start talking about it. Okay. Start talking about whatever you're going to be raising for. And since this is the Diary of an Apartment Investor podcast, we're assuming that you're going to be raising capital for apartments. So start talking to people about investing in apartments. And it doesn't matter, you just, hey, this is something that I'm going to start doing. You tell your friends and neighbors, or maybe at the water cooler on Monday at work, hey, what'd you do last weekend? Well, I signed up for this capital raising course, or I learned a little bit more about multifamily, or I went and toured an apartment investment or something like that. But the idea is you just have to start talking about it and start getting used to talking about it. And more than anything else, that's going to get the ball rolling forward. Now, personal experience, when I started with this, I was one of those people that waited until I had a deal in hand before I started raising capital. And I was really bad at it. I did end up raising a couple $100,000, I think 400,000 for our first deal, which was about 300,000 more than I thought I'd be able to raise. But the reality is, the first several times I tried to pitch deals, I was really bad at it. And what I started doing is, after the fact, just looking back and say, how could I have done that better? And the other thing I started doing is, when people asked me questions that I didn't know the answer to, I would essentially write a script with that answer. Like all the FAQs, I basically would have scripted out. Now, I didn't use the scripts when I was talking with them. That's just my way of learning things, So this is real, this is honest, and this is how you have to do it, is you just start talking about it first. Now, obviously, there's a good amount of education that has to be in there as well. And when you start looking at getting educated, you have to understand the subject that you're raising capital for. The two are going to come hand in hand, talking to people and learning more and more and more about your subject. But you don't have to wait until your knowledge is perfect or you know exactly what you're doing. Start talking to people, start getting people interested, start telling other people about how awesome it is to invest in apartments and all that great stuff. And I think more important, be enthusiastic about it, and be excited about it. All right. End of the day, raising capital, first big step is deciding you're going to do it. Second big step, start talking about it. And third step, you got to keep on learning, but it's not a learn then talk. It's, you're moving both forward at the same time. You're learning more a little bit every day and you're talking about it. And it's even okay if you talk to people about what you're learning about multifamily, and very as natural as possible. Like the example I gave earlier, water cooler at work, or, you run into a friend somewhere and, hey, what's up? What are you doing? hey, I've been learning about this apartment investing thing, and I'm really gonna start diving into that more. That's the start right there. And then as you learn more and as you get more sophisticated, you can stack other methods on top and sales skills and everything else. Come to find out, we have a course for that you're going to hear about on our end roll here. But anyway, that said, thanks for listening to the Diary of an Apartment Investor podcast. Hopefully, you got some value in this. Go ahead and subscribe, leave a 5-star rating review if you haven't already. And once again, we are going to be starting a new Raising Capital for Apartment Investing course that everyone is eligible for. Check the show notes for the link, and we'll talk later.